welcome back, everybody, to I'll Hang Up and Listen, brought to you by, of course, Fatty Beer Company, Western New York's premier market and tap room, with, of course, over 300 beers to choose from at 7 different Western New York locations. If you need a beer, if you need a beer today, be careful out there. The weather is absolutely awful. Decided to go to the gym today myself and ran into a couple of whiteouts, but that's another story. But if you do decide to go out and get a beer today, please use caution. But great vibes, live music, entertainment at Fatty Beer all the time. You can find them at Fatty Beer on Instagram and Twitter, fattybeer.com. Let them know we over here sent you a 2 goalies, 1 mic. I spent the heartbreaking loss at Fatty Beer in Lancaster when the Bills lost to the Denver Broncos in the most rip your heart out of your chest fashion. So again, great place to celebrate the wins and, drown your sorrows. So get over to Fatty Beer again. Let them know we over here at 2 goalies, 1 mic sent you. And of course, as always, Extreme Discount Mattress, where they sell mattresses for less, a lot less. I'm sorry, I got to pull up my script here. Western New York's finest selection of mattresses and adjustable beds, featuring cool gel memory foam, 2-sided mattress, tele-latex, organic mattress, Chapman Wells, and of course, Scott and Living, all for 1/3 to 1/2 the supposed sale prices anywhere. So stop in their 7 locations across Western New York, or check out their website, extrememattress.com. That is Extreme with an X. If you're looking for more savings, check out their new clothing center at 1625 Walden Avenue in Cheektowaga. With the 80% off their already low prices, you can save fortunes on one-of-a-kinds, closeouts, and floor models. So get a quality mattress for literally pennies on the dollar. Extreme Discount Mattress. We sell mattresses for less, a lot less. And if you mention you're a fan of 2 goalies, 1 mic, you get yourself a free mattress protector with the purchase of any mattress. Again, just mention that you're a fan of the podcast. I personally have a king size mattress from Extreme Discount Mattress, and I have never slept better in my life. There's a couple things you got to take care of your life. That's your back, your neck, and your feet. I spare no expense when it comes to that, but I didn't have to spend a ton of money over at Extreme Discount Mattress. They took care of me over there. Again, make sure you check out any of their 7 locations in Western New York. Sabres lose. They get hit by a Bussi. Brandon Bussi, to be exact, who set an NFL record today for, 18 wins in his first 22 starts, which is incredible. The 27-year-old goaltender. I don't know his story, but I guess he has a story. And I guess it's a pretty cool one. I'll have to look into that. But I'll tell you right now, he had Tage Thompson's number tonight, without a doubt. I don't think I've seen Tage put his head up in the air or just shake his head like that. It's like, I cannot believe the glove save was immaculate, like possibly save of the year, possibly a representative for save of the year for sure. There were a couple other chances, especially there at the end. He had a couple nice moves where he tried to drag it around Bussi, but he stayed with him. Listen, when you get to Carolina, especially when you play in Carolina, you're going to play a very defensive style brand of hockey. You're going to play a team that's very defense first, who's going to find ways to take advantage of their opportunities. I think even though he had this like immaculate game, I think he only had 17 saves. Like, we didn't put a ton of rubber on him tonight, but we had a lot of high quality chances when we did get shots, and you just couldn't bury it on this kid. And props to him, man. That was, as a goalie, I can appreciate a good getting goalied, even if it's against my own team. And he put on a stellar clinic today in the 1:30 matinee game. It's like, there were a couple of times when I was watching, like, how did that go? However, like, in that last minute of the game, I don't know if anyone noticed when he swung his arm around when he was scrambling to try and get back in position. I feel like he almost batted the puck in his own net. I was like, oh no, oh, yeah, I didn't. But here's the thing. That's why your special teams are so important. that's why when you do get opportunities in the power play, you have to find a way. You have to find a way to cash in. This team has struggled with that, to be consistent with that for most of the season. I'd say 75% of the season. And they couldn't get that done tonight, unfortunately. I'm checking to see how many power play opportunities they actually did have. Let's check it out here. But it wasn't a lot. I mean, Carolina plays a disciplined style of hockey. Let's see. They now on a 2-game losing streak, unfortunately. Even though, let me see. So penalties. Well, the only goal for Buffalo was Rasmus Dahlin, assisted by Quinn and Zucker, pretty early into the game at the 1 minute and 33 seconds into the game. Snetchikov scored out 5 minutes later, assisted by Aho and Walker. And then no goals in the second. And then early in the third, Seth Jarvis got one, assisted again by Snetchikov and Aho. And I'm looking at the shot chart here, and just again, tons of shot attempts, sure, but Carolina playing that brand of hockey where they get in front of pucks, they clog up lanes, they protect the front of the net. You don't get anything easy when you play against Carolina, again, especially in Carolina. Carolina took 6 total minutes of penalties. I believe, again, they play disciplined style hockey. And 2 of those minutes were coincidentals. So right there at the end of the game, that made it 4-on-4. So listen, it's tough to win hockey games when you get 18 shots on net. But it's not like the Sabres went out there and played a game that they didn't deserve to win. UPL had a good game. He made some huge saves, gave them a chance to win tonight, or today. I'm just keeping saying tonight, today. But Bussi was better. Bussi was a lot better, and didn't have nearly the amount of rubber hit him. Carolina had 28 shots on goal. UPL with 26 saves. The Sabres out-hit, I thought, played to match their physicality, if not more physical team. Dahlin and Schneider, I think every single player on Carolina hates Rasmus Dahlin's guts, right? He was all over the ice. He was getting under players' skin, and I love seeing that from him, because I think it's a sign of good things to come. Unfortunately, again, the score just didn't end up in your way. You wanna hope that you can kind of string some more wins together here on this road trip, because sooner or later that roster freeze from the All-Star break will be here, and you're hoping that Yarmo might make some moves. I genuinely do think this team misses Josh Norris a lot right now. He was integral into that 10-game winning streak, and they miss him a ton right now. Connor, who couldn't be on today because he's working today on West Coast time. Connor's tweeted about a half hour, got goalie and a ref, but nonetheless, a very good game against the best team in the East. See you in April /hell losers. Love that from Connor. But yeah, I felt like this was a very playoff atmosphere-like game. And if you think of a 7-game matchup between these two teams, wow. Again, it's not like there isn't opportunities for offense when you play against Carolina, because obviously they gave a bunch of high danger scoring chances. But the physicality side of it, I could tell, you could kind of tell there was a little bit of an edge to each team, the way they were playing. And again, I didn't like the way the refs called that game at all. I thought it was very ticky-tack, soft calls. Not a fan. But again, you played really well 5-on-5. I think that's Buffalo's bread and butter, right? Like that's where they win hockey games, 5-on-5. They're one of the better 5-on-5 teams in the league, I believe. So it's unfortunate. You want 2 points there. You want at least a point. You want to start off the road trip with a win. Fortunately, it didn't go their way. Looking at their schedule too. Well, the standings. We'll hit the standings real quick. I'm not sure how updated these are. But Sabres sit at 57 points. Carolina with 66. Now I'm not sure if these are updated or not. If somebody in the chat can let me know, don't worry, I'm gonna hit the peanut gallery here in a second. I know you guys are all nipping at the bit. You just gotta forgive me when I'm by myself. It's a little bit difficult to multitask, and I apologize. But unfortunately, again, Connor worked today out on West Coast time. It's 4:30 here. It's 1:30 for him. So unfortunately, he couldn't join us. That was not a trip by Powers. Bad call cost us the game. I agree. That was a horrible call. UPL was outstanding. From Anth, I don't like we lost, especially seeing the effort that was made, but I was expecting it to be a bit worse after what the Hurricanes did to Florida. Sounds like Hellenius did it good in his first inning. I do want to talk about that too. I liked his game today. I liked the line he played on with Ostlund and Benson. Again, their first time playing together, but I thought they looked fine. There was a lot of jump in Hellenius' game. I thought they gelled well together. I don't know what you guys thought, but that's a line I'd be interested in seeing more of for sure. Maybe a kids line 3.0. 18 losses at Carolina. When does it end? Maybe never. Was Bussi goal Hurricanes backup? I mean, he has 18 wins this season, so I don't think he's the backup, man. He has 18 wins in his first 20, right? I'm pretty sure. Well, I don't know. Is that all 18 wins this season? Right? Let's check it out right now. If that was all this season. Brandon Bussi. Let's see here. Let's look at his numbers this season. 27 years old, from South Beach, New York. Let's see. He's played 22 games this season, 18 wins with 1 shutout, a 906 save percentage, and a 220 goals against average. I don't know how many of those games he started, but 18 wins in your first 22 games, that is fucking unheard of, man. And like I said, he set an NHL record today. Like his last 5 games started were he's 4-1 with a loss against St. Louis of all teams. So, he's and again a great example of why you don't give up on goalie. I always see in the chat here, trade Levi, like, you know what I mean? You don't give up on goalies at 22, 23 years old. You just don't. They got goalie. Brandon Bussi is by far and away the best goalie the Sabres have seen this year. He made at least 10 bell saves. I'm blown away. I feel like half of their 18 shots on net today were taken by Tage. He was just, you could tell, man, he was getting angry. He was getting so angry. He was picked up on waivers too, which is unreal. 27 years old. He's getting his shot at the NHL and he's never letting it go. Somebody said on the Instagram, remember the Hamburglar, Hammond, remember from Ottawa, similar field to that, right? He came out of nowhere and played insane. People were throwing hamburgers on the ice. I remember, who was it? Was it Lazar? Picked up one of the hamburgers and started eating it after a game. Bussi looked like prime Hashtag today. I learned that just didn't comprehend if it was a recent transaction by the Hurricanes. Didn't they have the Zamboni? Yeah, I think they did have a Zamboni. No. David Ayers. Yes, David Ayers, who was the Leafs Zamboni driver, came into a game once in the third period and stoned the Leafs, led by Austin Matthews, and got Carolina the win. And now he's like a legend in Carolina. I thought Dahlin and Tage were beasts in this game. Poor Tage is going to have nightmares about Bussi. Yeah, he's going to be thinking about today, for at least 24 hours, right? Rest were awful in the third, and they actually decided the game, which was even worse. I agree. That was an awful call on Owen Power, and again, costly. Stakehoven took a dive and acted like his leg needed to be amputated. He sold it to the ref. Yeah, he did. Sometimes you should sell it. It worked, right? It did work. I don't even think he missed a shift. Stankoven, no, he didn't. He was out there like on his very next shift, unfortunately. So, Connor, Duane, I've repeated time after time, no depth scoring, too reliant on Thompson, Benson, Tuck, Austin, Quinn, invisible. Norris is badly missed. Benson had a clear shot, no speed, no drive. Yeah, listen, yeah, not having Norris is going to hurt. Yarmo's gonna make a move. He's gonna have to. Just I don't think now that that Norris's injury is week to week that you can just sit there and allow yourself to hope and pray that this roster as it sits is good enough to continue at the pace they were playing at. Because right now you need them to play over probably at a 600 hockey pace, right? Above 500 in order to really keep pace and make playoffs. This is a very tight Eastern Conference, right? And I want to talk about too. Think over like how many times we've seen it a couple times this year too, where a player will get embellishment and the other player will still get you'll still get the tripping call, but you get the embellishment call. I don't understand what the rest were looking at like that and not thinking that it was an embellishment. And I've seen other calls get called for embellishment against the Sabres that were a lot less egregious than that by Stankoven. Can we talk about the Bills, please? In a minute, maybe. Mauricio, today ain't the day to bitch about depth scoring. Sabres only today. Brandon Bean equals Kevin Adams. Yeah, I agree. Pagula is finally getting in the brains that making coaching changes is better than repeating a legacy of failure year after year. From Mauricio, too many odd man rushes all game. Bad habits. UPL played amazing. Bad habits are arising again. No depth scoring forward. Zucker should have been selfish, not pass a Thompson telegraph pass. I agree. The thing with that save on Tage, as beautiful as it was, and I can always appreciate a huge glove save. I used to love to just make the save like that, even though I didn't have to when I used to play. But yeah, his glove didn't really move much. And I'm not taking anything away from Brandon Bussi. He played fantastically. But if you go back and look at that replay, he never moved his glove really all that much because the give and go pass essentially in front of the net, it was so quick that I don't even think Bussi had the time to react to bring his glove over. It was just there. I'm not going to call it luck because I'm a goalie and I don't call things like that luck. But Tage did shoot it directly into that glove. Zucker has been terrible since returning. I wouldn't say that. He's definitely been on a cold streak as of late. He's got a few points since he's come back, but again, I think where he really needs to improve is that power play for sure. From Paul Durick, that was a great game. It's too bad a game like that the refs essentially decided the game. Connor Hurley has been sick last week. You had a guy named Steve replay. Yeah. Unfortunately, no, Connor's not sick right now. He lives in California and it's West Coast time. He had to work today and it's 1:45 his time. So unfortunately he couldn't be out today during a matinee game. Where was Kesslering? I don't know if we actually got a reasoning for that. Maybe you guys in the chat know or have seen something. But I was a little confused by that too. If he's, still, trying to rehab that injury that he had. I don't know if from the fight that he got into with Foligno. He took on a true heavyweight in the NHL, held his own, but I don't know if there was any feeling. I don't know. I'm not sure why Kesslering didn't play today. Sorry. 47 games in first game all year. They got goalied. I feel no need to complain. Yeah, it's going to happen. It happens to every team. I'm sure this is not the first team that Brandon Bussi goalied this season with 18 wins in 22 games, which is insane. Another kick in the nuts for this town. Terry Bigul is the master of 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. I think we are way more positive. I think there are way more positives to take out of this game than negatives. Yeah. But again, you just played the best team in the Eastern Conference and lost 2-1. You know what I mean? As much as you want 1 or 2 points out of that, let's be real here. That's a very good, well-coached, very disciplined hockey team. And for me, there are plenty of positives to take out of that. Like you said, there's, sorry, I'm just going to fix my lighting here. Situation here. Hold on. There we go. A little bit. there are plenty of positives to take out of that. I thought Rasmus Dahlin and Tage, really were the focal point of Buffalo's game tonight, both offensively and defensively. I liked what we saw out of Hellenius in his NHL debut. I thought that line with Ostlund and Benson has some promise, a lot of speed, a lot of talent, and a lot of creativity on that line. So, and you have a guy like, again, not a lot of size, but you have a guy like Benson who's going to go do the dirty stuff and dig out pucks, and he has a lot of skill as well, and he's going to find ways to get pucks to guys like goal scorers like Ostlund and Hellenius. So we'll see how much longer he's up. I don't know, barring a trade or Josh Norris miraculously being better sooner than expected. Like, I think Hellenius might be up for a few games. So the end of that game was wild. Yeah, like, that was exciting. That was exciting stuff. I thought for sure 2 or 3 times they were going to tie that game. And that's the fun thing about this team is, like, you never feel like they're out of a game. Did any of you ever actually feel like they were going to lose this game? Even, like, you know what I mean? Like, I know it's Carolina, which is like playing the Devils back in the 2000s, like the early 2000s, late 2000s. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what it feels like when you play the Carolina Hurricanes. But I never felt like they were definitely most certainly going to lose that game. I felt like they were in it the entire time. My question is that Bussi looks strong, saving high shots. Why not try shooting low? We hit a post that way in the third, then just stops. I think a lot of the times they're just trying to get pucks on net too. Create a little chaos from. I thought that's the only way you were going to score on this guy, a second goal on this guy tonight, is like just get pucks to the net, create some havoc, create some chaos. He seems like a very good first shot goaltender. Proved that quite a bit today. So for me, getting pucks and finding second opportunities was the way you were going to score on this guy tonight. And it just didn't today, and it just didn't happen for you. This was a playoff game, in my opinion, very intense. Yeah, like, I was on the edge of my seat a lot in this game, no doubt. It was a fun hockey game to watch. I imagine if you were in Carolina, we had some boots on the ground ourselves. You saw we had our boy Chris Maz do record the rookie lap before the game during warmups. Hellenius' rookie lap. I imagine it was a fun game to be at too. Absolutely, probably an electric atmosphere. Would have been nice to come home with a win, but we got some more games ahead of us. We're still in a good spot in the standings, and with games in hand. In a 7-game series, Carolina would win in 5 games. I mean, I don't know about that. You lost 2-1. It's not like you lost 3-1 or 4-1 or 5-2. I think I think you absolutely have an opportunity there in a 7-game series. If that were to be a playoff matchup, you could win that series. There's nothing about what I saw from him that scared me outrageously that says there's no way I can win more than 1 or 2 games at a 7-game series. No way. 17 has been a little disappointing lately. A lot of fumbled pucks taking over for Quinn. Yeah, again, he's definitely been a little bit of a cold streak. I do agree with that. But Zucker's a professional. He's a veteran. He's been through this before. He'll get himself out of it. Okay, except that we're not making the cup this year. Carolina is a cup or bust team. We played great, I say again. Agree. I couldn't agree. Give the guy power tripped an Academy Award for the acting job. Duane, I bet you eat a hamburger off the ice too. I would. I'm always hungry, guys. I'm always hungry. Very good seeing 26 the last few games taking over. He is still the key to playoffs. Agree. Once that guy truly, surely gets going, again, given everything he's been through this season, watch out, man. Honestly, watch out, because I don't even think we've seen the peak of Rasmus Dahlin yet this year. And once he gets going, it's going to be fun to watch, in my opinion. We're going to hit some of the post-game comments here from the locker room. Of course, brought to you by Fatty Beer Company, Western New York's premier market and tap room, with over 300 beers to choose from at 7 different Western New York locations. If you need a beer, always make sure you make it a Fatty Beer. Let them know we sent you over here at 2 Goalies, 1 Mic. Also, Extreme Discount Mattress, where we sell mattresses for less, a lot less, at all 7 of their Western locations. And if you're looking for even more savings, check out their new closeout center at 1625 Walden Avenue in Cheektowaga, where you can get a great price on a one of a kinds closeouts and floor samples. Again, you can find them at extrememattress.com. That is extreme with an X. And remember, if you let them know that we sent you from Two Goalies, One Mic, you get yourself a free mattress protector. Again, remember, that is extrememattress.com, extreme with an X. Make sure you mention us for a free mattress protector and their new closeout center at Walden Avenue in Cheektowaga, 1625 Walden Avenue, Cheektowaga, up to 80% off. They're already low prices where you can save a fortune on one of a kind's closeout floor samples with models like the two-sided mattress, Tele Latex, organic mattress, Chatham Wells, and Scott Living. Make sure you check them out. So, but to the post-game comments and in the locker room, again, brought to you by Fatty Beer Company, Extreme Discount Mattress. Rough side Kesslering tweaked something from his previous injury, so that's why he sat today. So we got our answer. Not fun, because this guy has been a player that has stayed healthy for almost his entire professional career, and it isn't until he comes to Buffalo that the guy becomes all of a sudden injury prone, right? Go figure. Ruff says he really liked the final 40 minutes from the team, but didn't like the tripping call on Power, which led to the game winner. Wow, that's 2 coaches, well, now 1 former coach in a row that criticized officiating. You obviously remember Sabres, Bills former head coach, now former head coach, Sean McDermott, criticizing the officiating. Sorry, I'm just a little distracted here. 1 second. Okay. There we go. Sorry about that. I had to fix the ticker there. I apologize. I had the ticker from last show going. I thought I fixed it. Apparently I didn't press save. But yeah, you had Sean McDermott criticizing the officials from the playoff game, and then the very next game you have Lindy Ruff criticizing the officials in this game. But I don't think Lindy is going to get fired. So Ruff says it was a hard compete from both teams. Tage Thompson said they were good on 50-50 battles. Solid in their D zone. He thought 5-on-5 they were very good. Again, like I said, that's their bread and butter. Thompson says Bussi was just feeling it today. But I loved our effort and compete right to the buzzer there. More from Tage. I thought we competed really hard, got our looks, ran into a hot goalie. He played a hell of a game. You gotta tip your cap to him. Darlene says that you have to come ready to compete against the Hurricanes. He thought they did. Credits Bussi again for being huge on some grade A chances. You got to give credit to the goalie. That's why they won the game today. 100%. And that's all from the locker room. But yeah, you got to tip your cap to Brandon Bussi again, setting an NHL record today for most wins in their first 22 games of their NHL career. 27-year-old Brandon Bussi played lights out. Again, he didn't face a ton of pucks, but played very well. So, and again, I liked what I saw today from Consta Helenius. I look back especially on one of Bussi's big saves on Darlene. Consta with a cross ice pass, number 94 to number 26. Darlene with the shot and Bussi with the save. So I never thought that Consta Helenius felt in any way out of place tonight. And I don't know how you guys felt, but, we've done good with these younger players this season, right? I thought he fit in right with this lineup. So hopefully he sticks around and we continue to see more of what we saw today. In Rochester this season, he has 9 goals for 30 points in 34 games with 10 PIMs. And actually was named an All-Star, an AHL All-Star for their AHL All-Star game too this season. So he's having a great year. So with that being said, hopefully we continue to see more of him. and more of that line. I don't think there is a single player in that lineup today that you can look and say they had a bad game. I thought it was a very hard fought game. Very good, like I said, playoff atmosphere and I think if they play that same game against Carolina, maybe on a different day, you get a different result. I would honestly say you probably win on a different day than today. Because again, like Darlene and Tage said, Brandon Bussi was feeling it. He was in the zone. He was locked in. And you just weren't winning that game today with the way he felt and the way he played. And as goalies, I mean, I was mediocre at best, but I've had games like that. Yeah, back in high school, I remember a game against, not to open the yearbook here, I remember a game where we were down 3 of our top 4 scorers against a very good Southwestern Maple Grove team. And we won 3-1. I probably played one of the best games of my high school career. I made a Hasek. I remember I made a Hasek-like save where I threw I was on my stomach and I threw my foot up and stopped the puck with the back of my heel and popped it out before it could cross the line. Like everything went. I say that because sometimes things just go the right way for you. Like sometimes everything just goes right for you. And that's the way it went for Brandon Bussi today. So you weren't just going to win this game. I think you could have had 50 shots on net today, and I don't know if you would have won this game. Wasn't Hellenius ranked the second most NHL-ready prospect in his draft class behind Celebrini? Yeah, he was up there. I want to say was Olli Jokinen maybe was his coach or former coach, said that like if there was any player from that draft class could jump in the NHL the next season, it was him. And he was very, very like adamant and passionate about that opinion. If they play this game every time, they will win 6 out of 10 and get a point in a lot of losses. This is what a playoff team plays like. I'm confident their chances on January 19th, I believe. Yeah, they get another crack at it, and next time they get a crack at Carolina, I think you play that same style of hockey, you win, no doubt. So. That is it for me, guys. I will briefly speak on the big news in Buffalo with Sean McDermott losing his job. If you follow me on Twitter, I didn't agree with it. Not sitting there saying I'm a Sean McDermott guy or ever I was, but in my opinion, your head coach played with the pieces he was given. He was not given a very good wide receiver room at all. And when it was do or die, you were throwing the ball in must-win situations or must-catch situations to 2 players that were sitting on a couch all season. That's not on Sean McDermott. That's on the GM, which I'm surprised. I always felt that if one was gone, so was the other, or if only one was going to be gone, it'd been Brandon Bean. So very surprised that it was Sean McDermott being kind of used as the scapegoat, at least in my opinion. I felt like Sean was the scapegoat. I don't think there was a coach I never thought there'd be a coach that could represent the city of Buffalo the way Lindy Ruff has for the Sabres on 2 different occasions. That just bleeds Buffalo, bleeds blue and gold, bleeds blue and red. But that was Sean McDermott, man. I tweeted out that video earlier today of, I'll forever be thankful for giving us that moment where he ended the drought. That all the team in the locker room celebrating after Andy Dalton threw that touchdown pass to Boyd to help the Bills end the drought. Sean McDermott was a great ambassador for the city of Buffalo, the Buffalo football, and he made the Bills, fun. He made people proud to be Bills fans again. He ended what was an agonizing 17-year playoff drought. He helped bring up a young Josh Allen who we all thought wasn't the guy. 90% of Buffalo hated that pick, and we were all wrong. And, whether you want to say he did it on his own raw talent himself or this guy or that guy was part of the reason why he is the guy he is today. I mean, you have to give credit to Sean McDermott for being like almost like a dad figure to all these players in that room, and you saw the reactions to a lot of the players today. Some of them a lot upset, rightfully so. I don't think the Bills handled it the way they should have. I think they should have let the players all know before it was announced. Like, when it comes to a guy like Sean McDermott, you don't find out on Instagram or find out on Twitter. That is a meeting with your players. You all get on a Zoom call or however, or you tell everybody after the locker room clean out that you have to meet, and we're going to have a conversation. I did have a thought too, given the way, how out of character it was for Sean McDermott to speak about the officials the way he did after that game. And, I'm standing up for Buffalo, his comments like that. And then him even calling the Buffaloes after the fact and saying even more about how he felt. To me, I thought maybe, and again, I thought this was the wrong move. This is just my opinion, that Sean McDermott knew going into that last game that if he lost, he was gone. That maybe it was almost known, like almost kind of like draft day, where the owner, Kevin Costner's owner in draft day, kind of essentially told him, make a splash or I'm done with you. Maybe it was winner, you're gone. And maybe that affected the way he coached that game a little bit. I kind of think of that play at the end of the first half, not taking the knee. Maybe he's doing that because he's desperate to keep his job. Coaching out of character a little bit. I don't know. I just feel like the way he reacted after that game and maybe that specific play call, that he knew his coaching life was on the line. But we'll see what happens. Again, not an agreement that Brandon Beane is still the GM and apparently got a promotion, which is astounding to me that you could miss on the amount of draft picks that guy has missed on. The extensions, defensive extensions he signed guys to that did not pan out, especially this season. Signing injury-prone guys to big extensions, guys you knew had dealt with injuries like Milano. Not that I don't like Matt Milano, but the best thing about a player is availability, and he just wasn't consistently available enough throughout his Bills career. We'll see if it extends beyond this season, but yeah, I don't know. I think they fired the wrong guy, no doubt. And you could point to his little meltdown on WGR where he berated Jeremy for even questioning the wide receiver room, even though it was something we all as fans criticized, NFL analysts everywhere criticized, former NFL players criticized, current NFL players criticized. We were all wrong, though, Brandon. You were right. You were wrong. You were so wrong. And I don't know how you kept your job, because your little crybaby meltdown on WGR probably was, and not probably, to me, was as embarrassing as the Kevin Adams palm tree comments, in my opinion. He did not have good salary cap management. No way. It did, to me, put the Bills in a very difficult position with the cap. Turning down the Waddle trade at the deadline, he wanted to trade the 2027 first round pick. They wanted this year's pick. He wouldn't budge off it like that. Like, that should matter in Josh Allen's prime years. There's no player in either of the draft that's going to be as impactful that late in the draft where that pick will be that more than Jalen Waddle. So, and then you can just keep listing the things. He's done plenty of good things too, but since drafting Josh Allen, this team has only had two Pro Bowlers. Only 2 Pro Bowlers. Now, I know it's like a popularity contest too, to an extent, and you could point to a lot of players who you think were deserving of being a Pro Bowler. But since drafting Josh Allen, he has only Brandon Beane has only drafted 2 Pro Bowlers. That's it. James Cook and Dawson Knox. That's it. But that guy is not the one that gets fired. So I'll talk to you guys later. As always, go Sabres. I'll hang up and listen. Love y'all.